Considering how many teen movies are set in American schools, it's surprising that more games haven't explored that stage. Life is Strange combines enjoyable coming-of-age tropes with rich, explorable spaces and a fresh time travel story, standing shoulder to shoulder with other popular episodic titles while bringing new tricks to the table. Every teenager always wished they could turn back time once or twice during their school career, and Life is Strange is at its best when it gives you free rein to do so. Sadly, as with many narrative-heavy episodic titles, the game puts limits on your decisions for the sake of keeping the story manageable. Although these limits are far less jarring than those restricting competitor titles such as The Walking Dead, they still give rise to suspicions that developers haven't quite gotten to grips with this style of game just yet. You play as Max, indie kid extraordinaire. A gifted photographer, Max shies away from her gifts, preferring to remain a wallflower than submit her art for criticism. She might not be the most original character in the world, but it's the sort of character cliché we're used to seeing in indie films rather than indie games. Stepping into the shoes of Max feels like a new opportunity, and when you quickly realize that you've gained the ability to turn back time, you're given choices as to how to put your new gift to use. It's refreshing to move away from the point-and-click focus of many episodic adventures into a more freely explorable world, and straight off the bat, Life is Strange feels like a game rather than a story wrapped up in gamers' clothing. The paths are very linear, and we'd like to see bigger, broader levels in later episodes, but as an introduction, this first outing serves well. It's stunning to look at to boot. Some will compare the game's graphic novel stylings to Telltale Games, but developer Dontnod's title looks sharper, less cartoony, and despite having terrible lip syncing, the faces of the characters convey a lot of emotion.
The ones who end up in jail. You only think you're tough and clever. This too shall pass.
The writing is typical of the setting. From the shy nerds to the untouchable rich kids, vicious bullying, and touches of romance, you'll find all the hallmarks of the genre that you'd expect. Thanks to the game's time travel mechanic, poor conversation choices can be undone at the press of a button, allowing you to explore the narrative choices without worrying about making an irreversible mistake. In writing the game's dialogue, Dontnod had a huge catalogue of popular fiction to draw from, and they've chosen to take a larger-than-life, pop-culture-savvy approach. Some players will find this unrealistic or hackneyed, but we appreciated the filmic quality of the dialogue, from its Mean Girls cliques to its Breakfast Club banter. It's nice to see developers finding ways to make their games movie-like without actually turning them into movies.
How are you?
Here's your flash. Thanks.
No problem.
The more supernatural elements of Life is Strange are remarkably gripping too. Unexplained visions of ghostly creatures, titanic storms ripping across the shoreline. Against the backdrop of everyday life, these moments of fantastical action seem all the more impressive as characters react to them in believable ways, the sorts of reactions you'd expect a teen to have. Rest assured, you'll be excited to unravel the game's mysteries. Life is Strange is downright enjoyable. It's brief, well fleshed out, and has a great cast of characters who you can choose to engage with or ignore as you wish. It's just a pity that we're tied to a linear path of events, restricted from more imaginative exploration of the game's time travel antics, prevented from really getting to know its world. If you can stomach paying the asking price for a 3-hour episode, you won't be disappointed.